Hi guys, Megan Lynn here. Just here to talk a little bit more about, I guess mediumship. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. And setting boundaries. So setting boundaries when it comes to, if you guys work with different guides or different angels or things like that, just so you know, they do not understand sleep whatsoever. They don't understand physical limitations of the 3D. This has nothing to do with this isn't the demonology really side of it, but what they do is it's fear-based training. It's fear-based training, but they like to do that in your sleep, in your astrals. So if you guys are dealing with certain angels or energies, anything like that, what they'll do is I can tell you guys about my sleep kind of situations. Sorry, I'm super tired. They woke me up again. Well, not the demons, but it was honestly angels. So what they do is they like to drop you into situations, and usually in your astrals, where they put you in fear-based situations in your dreams, and they kind of test you. So I can say for when I first started this and it started to get really bad was, I think it was for like 3 weeks straight. Every night I would be not woken up. Yeah, woken up, I guess. Because I was, every night I'd be on the brink of sleep. I'd fall asleep. And then the scenario, and I call them scenarios, would begin. They'd all be different, and they'd be dealing with different entities or different things that are scary, like sharks or crocodiles, or just invisible entities, things like that. A lot of times it would be this sort of like Matrix kind of feeling where it would be, I would fall asleep, and then in my dream, I'd sit up in my bed. So I was like in my bed. I'd sit up in my bed, and then it would be like go time. It's like, okay. And then they'd have some sort of demon or some sort of frightening thing that I'd have to confront or deal with. And I can say this went on when I first started for probably about 3 weeks straight. And it's funny too because it was with angels when I first started that. It was with angels, and they would always mark themselves with certain colors too. Like Michael would be in blue. I had a Hamiel there too, with the red. But it would be funny because as long as the dream scenario would go on, if I wasn't getting it, or if it was going too far, or something like that, they would wake me up in some abrupt way. They would wake me up. So for about 3 weeks straight, when I first started this, this is years ago. It would be like I remember one time I was dealing with like a demon entity scenario in my house, and I wasn't I guess handling it right. This little red bee came, and it just kind of like zapped me in my face, and I woke up because I wasn't at that point. When the scenario goes too far, this is when angels intervene. When a scenario is going too far, or when you're just not understanding it or getting it, they'll always kind of bring you out of it. So what you have to do at that point is set boundaries. I'm saying because I had another scenario tonight. It had nothing to do with demons or mediumship or demonology. This is just like it's like ongoing spiritual training. I'm in business development, so I'm always looking for ongoing learning, ongoing training. But it was just very funny because it remembered. Sorry, I'm tired. It's like 3:50, I think, in the morning. it's ongoing spiritual training. You'll always have ongoing spiritual training, and so you can continue to evolve. So with that being said, I got woken up again tonight. I don't have to work on the weekends till a little bit later, but you do need to set with guides and angels. Angels do not understand. I'm sorry, they don't understand. Angels have a great sense of humor, but they don't understand physical 3D needs. So if you guys are being woken up at night, you do need to set boundaries and things like that for, hey, I need a certain amount of sleep, or I need a certain amount of sleep, or yeah, you have to kind of set that, because they honestly don't understand. They'll like laugh at it. They don't understand like the limitations of the 3D, but they will work with you. So if you tell them, because for 3 weeks, when I first started this, I started into Reiki healing. And then shortly thereafter, I was doing my Reiki healing. And then for like 3 weeks straight, I was woken up. I was doing these dream scenarios like every night. And obviously, I don't have control over that. But I was doing these scenarios over and over. It's like I would, if I wasn't getting the scenario, I'd wake up abruptly and then I'd go back to sleep, and the new scenario would start. I'd sit up in bed in my dream or in the astrals or whatever it was, and I was very aware of this. It was not unlike lucid dreaming. I was very aware that I was in a scenario. But I would do this over and over and over, and I didn't know that you could just tell them that, hey, you guys need to cool it. Hey, I have a 9 to 5. I have to have a certain amount of sleep as a human. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about that, I just kind of want to talk about it. I had another scenario tonight. And the funny thing with scenarios, depending on what guides that you work with, when I do the scenarios, it's typically angels that help, and they'll usually show themselves in an interesting way. So you'll be able to recognize them in a certain way. Usually they'll have some sort of, and I'll call them out too. I had one situation, it was with a shark. I dream about sharks every once in a while, and sharks are supposed to be aggression, but that's never what my dreams are about. But it was so funny because one time I had a scenario, and it was with a shark. I have a lot of scenarios with sharks with military people, but it was so funny because this shark had like blue blotches kind of on it, and I looked at the shark and I went, Michael? And I knew it was Michael, Archangel Michael. And I just went, Michael? And it literally just froze up, and then I got zapped and I woke up again. So it was like, it's very, very, very interesting. But if you guys have questions about dream scenarios or dream training or anything like that, definitely set your boundaries and let them know, I know I'll be fine, because I'm used to this at this point. It's been years and years of me doing this, but you can let them know. And honestly, 5D things don't understand physical limitations, or that it's fucking 4 o'clock in the morning right now. I have to work at 11 today, and then it's honestly a short day, but I know that I'll probably be up now through whatever time I go to bed tomorrow, but I know that I can handle that. And this doesn't happen every night, mind you, or I don't work every night like this, but I kind of wanted to keep sharing the nighttime stuff when it comes to being a medium, being somebody who's spiritually gifted. Angels like to work with you at night, so if you guys are dealing with anything like that, my guides would always come, and then they'd always put me in these weird scenarios with different kind of entities, and it was so funny because it was like a game. I feel like it's almost like a game sometimes to them, because I would literally fall asleep and then wake up wake up in my bed, and then I'd be like, okay, scenario. Like I was well aware, and I was very close to lucid dreaming. Not quite on that point yet, and then I'd have to deal with whatever entities, and it was always different kind of entities or different ones with different abilities or things like that. And that's when I first opened myself to Reiki healing. So if you guys are looking into energy work or anything like that, it will open you up. Be cautious of who attunes you to, but yeah, I just wanted to share more of the nighttime stuff. Had a scenario, and I haven't had a scenario in a while, because I've dealt with so much, I feel like, but I haven't had a scenario in a while. A lot of the times when I'm woken up at this time too, if it's not a scenario, it's usually to meditate, and when I meditate, I see a lot of things. So if they're waking you up multiple times in a row for multiple nights or a number of weeks, and it has nothing to do with dream training or, well, for me, demons or dealing with things of the like, a lot of the times it has to do with you needing to uncover something meditationally. So they'll have you, you should meditate, because I've seen so many things. I'm going to go into one of my meditations I had a couple weeks ago, when I was getting woken up, and I decided to, a lot of people try to fight sleep, or a lot of people try to, they'll try to go back to sleep instead of, doing something productive so that they get retired again. But it's just really funny because, like, for me, I find if I'm being woken up multiple times, I'm trying to be given information. Eventually, I usually meditate and I'll find things out. But yeah, I think I'll share one of my meditations eventually on another video that I had a couple weeks ago about twin flames. It was really pretty awesome. And see if somebody's had some similar experiences, because I find, like, I've always been the true black sheep, but I wonder if somebody's had a similar kind of situation or similar experience. So this is exactly why I left the psychic community here in Phoenix and Sedona, is that nobody seemed to have experience with the dark or experience with lowers or what I was experiencing. And if you can kind of imagine starting out on that kind of journey and having nobody to talk to, and then the people that you had to talk to were honestly they just had no idea what you're talking about, or but they would still give you an answer, and that shit bugs the shit out of me. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I was just doing a little, like, 3:50 or 4 o'clock in the morning rant because I got woken up again. But I had a scenario. I'll probably go over my scenarios, just so you guys have an idea. But I feel like I'm not supposed to say it too much because I'll ruin it for people. But yeah, leave a comment, share a like. wmega939@gmail.com. All the usual shit I say at the end of my videos. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.